There is a fine line between getting too involved in your stylist lives and knowing what you need to know in order to protect your business, number one, and also being a supportive salon owner, right? Like, yes, we need to know what's going on because we have this kind of delicate ecosystem in the salon that we massage, maneuver, maintain as salon owners. But there is a fine line between like, okay, this stylist is going through a really rough breakup. Like, do you really need to know all the details? No. But do you need to know that that's going on? Probably, because it may affect their work, it may affect their attitude. And when we can't address something or know that it's going on from, like, it, if you could name it, then you can address it. So let's say one of your stylists is going through a really terrible breakup. They were recently engaged and now the engagement is off, or they moved across the country, started working at your salon, have this great thing going, and now the guy breaks up with them. So, or whatever. Or like you can see that it's detrimental, or like you can see the relationship isn't going somewhere. These are things that, like, both of these scenarios could affect your business. Now, you hope that they don't, but they're humans, right? And just the way that we always say that our businesses are an extension of ourselves as salon owners, the same is true. The same is true for our staff. Like, their craft, their work, their artistry, whether they're your employee or not, is a direct reflection of what's going on in their lives. And so in either scenario, and those are both scenarios that I've recently coached through, two separate scenarios, it's like, yeah, you want to know these things. We have a boundary of what's not too far for us to get involved, right? Because, like, even if you see the guy is a terrible guy, or the person that they're in this relationship with, you can see that coming a mile away. That's not your job to jump in and say that. Like, if something is dangerous, or, I mean, when, like, it is your moral obligation to say something as a human, not as a salon owner, right? This is coming from salon ownership. So as a salon owner, I think it's important that we know when things are going on in our stylist lives, that we let them know, like, we're here for you, right? Like, I'm here for you as a human, as your boss, as your employer, as your salon owner. And I want you to know that, like, if you need something, please ask me. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do it, though, because, like, there's not always something you can do. It's not really your responsibility. But if it's going to affect your business, it's you have to say, like, okay, do I want to help this situation? What do I want to do to help this situation? Right? And I have been in positions over the last 18 years as a salon owner where this has happened, right? There have been things where I'm like, whoa. There has been a scenario, let me tell you, that it wasn't going to affect my business because I was like, yeah, like, maybe a little bit, like a renter would have left or something because her life was such in disarray. But I even considered, Josh and I really considered potentially, like, either adopting a child out of a situation, or just being like a temporary safe place for a child. Thankfully we didn't have to do that, and, like, it all worked out. But like, and that would have been me getting really involved, and that was a conversation where I was like, like, that then could affect my business, like, down the line. Like, even if this person doesn't work with me, I would have, like, ties to this situation. And so I was relieved, mostly for the child, that, like, I didn't get to that place. But we had very serious conversations about it because, like, how can you do that, right? But, like, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, how much do you need to know? And then when is too far, like, in terms of your responsibility? And so for us, and for me as a salon owner, I usually say like, hey, I'm so sorry that's going on. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do, and or like if you need a day or two, if it's going to affect your work in any way, like just let me know how I can help, because the salon is a happy place, right? And we want it to be for you too, and one of support and one of family and community. And so like that's like, let us help you, let us take care of you. It's not like, don't come in here with a bad attitude because you're sad and mopey, like, and affect my business. It's not that, right? It's showing up in a way that's like, wow, okay, like that's a lot to take in. And the scenarios I give are breakups, but like there's always so much stuff, right? There's always so much stuff. And actually, I have a stylist who recently lost their father-in-law, and I didn't know, like, it was sudden, right? So I didn't know until like she actually, here's what happened. Her rent was late, and I was like, that's super weird. And so I just lobbed a text and was like, hey, like, rent is never late, just checking in, like maybe forgot, it's a busy week. And she was like, actually my father-in-law died, I'm so sorry, I'll send it over, I'll pay whatever late fees, da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, no, right? And then we had a short conversation, and this person, I mean, she was kind of like the primary caregiver. It's just, it's hard, like it doesn't matter if it's your father-in-law, your whoever in law, like your dad, it doesn't, like, sometimes the relationships are great and sometimes they're not. And so it doesn't really matter who it is, but if the person that passes is important to your people, like that matters, right? And sometimes even if they don't have a great relationship, it matters more. So anyways, I say like my pleasantries via text, and then in the salon, the next time I saw her, I said, hey, I don't want to like bring it up, but I just, like, I want to tell you, like, I'm so incredibly sorry, and please let me know if there's anything that we can do. And of course she was like, there's nothing, right? But and this person lived a long, happy life, I mean, it's like, it's kind of like good, but so sad and devastating to their family, and like those kind of things. And so we ended up having just like a nice little conversation. It actually like brought tears to my eyes when we were having the conversation. I just gave her a big hug and was like, man, I'm just here for you. Like, that is okay. But what I will say is that I probably wouldn't have allowed myself to have that conversation or to be vulnerable or emotional in the salon as a salon owner like years ago, because I didn't know how to do that and maintain my leadership. But the way that you do it, and the way that I'm totally okay with that now, is like, I'm a human. Like, I get to have emotions, and like people like that when like, you can't make it about you, but when you are supportive to them in whatever it is that they're going through, it's fine. But the way that you hold on to your leadership is by setting the boundary first and being like, I'm here to support you. I'm here XYZ, whatever. And then the business is handled, right? And you didn't say, don't come to work, don't be a big wet blanket, don't be a mood killer, a dark cloud. Like, you don't have to say that, right? Because you've done that in your core values. You say, like, if you need some time, if there's anything that we can do, the salon is a happy place. Like, we're here to support you and love on you. And please let us know if there's anything we can do. That's it. Don't ask for too many details. And then if they want to talk about it and you want to be there, like if they need to talk, like, you can be that person for them to a certain degree, and hear them, help them if you can. But it's okay to be like, gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, that is just heartbreaking. Or like, you can say those things. Like, you can have a real conversation. You don't have to be this like rigid person in it all. Like, you don't have to be like the rock of all rocks. Like, once business is handled, you get to just be a human about it. And so I think there's a fine line, just like I said in the beginning, of knowing too much to where you get involved, which I never recommend. But there's also like the side that you don't do enough, and then you're not human enough, and it feels like you don't care. Right? And so we have to find what that piece of that equation that works for us in our leadership styles and for our team, so that we can lead well and also support people as they go through life. Because that is part of our job as salon owners, whether you like it or not. People are going to have life come up, and it is such an intimate space in the salon that people are always sharing. But sometimes that share isn't extended past the stylist to the owner. And sometimes it's abused as well, where the owner becomes the punching bag or the dumping ground for all the things. And I highly don't recommend that. But it's up to you to set that standard in your salon of how you are going to handle that, and do it in a way that it doesn't affect your leadership, but you get to deepen relationships with your staff and with your team.